I guess for you, someone who has obviously run a party really for the last 5 years, for you it's about the issues and about doing your work.
Absolutely.
More than anything else.
Absolutely.
So let's talk about the previous senator of Nairobi, who's now running for governor of Nairobi, Johnson Sakaja. We all saw the debate. Many people saying, okay, it could have been more about policies and less about you're this and you're that and you're this and you're that. What would you do differently in that role that maybe Johnson Sakaja failed to do in his role?
Yeah, first of all, the debate, it was quite unfortunate that it was a big missed opportunity for me. I attended the debate as, the incoming senator. I need to know what plans these two guys have for the city and whether the plans that they're putting forward, first of all, make sense and that they represent the best use of the resources of the people of Nairobi. So it was a bit unfortunate that it degenerated to what it was. He was very eager, Sakaja, to move on from the question of his degree and, initially was claiming let's focus on the issues. But then he spent the rest of the debate just haranguing and banging at Polycarp's resignation from the deputy governor's position, which is something that Polycarp had actually explained before the guy came. You remember he came?
Yes, absolutely, yes.
So it was a bit disrespectful for me, from my perspective, for him to confirm to be in the debate and then to come late and to be unapologetic about it. He could have said anything, Farid. If, you come up with great excuses for why you come late to work. I listen to you every morning. Throw something out there.
There's always something.
Traffic, yes, please.
No.
Say it was the weather, my car broke down.
Yeah.
Say something, but don't show the sort of disrespect that he showed. To answer your question directly, there are some things that I would do very differently from Sakaja. Because, Farid, I actually believe that as a leader, you must always take a position on everything. There is no room for ambiguity. There is no room for, what he likes to call neutrality. Even the Bible says, I know you're not much of a God guy, but even the Bible says that God hates lukewarmity. You are either hot or you're cold. So there are a few issues that I would do differently. Number one, when the debate about allocation of resources to Nairobi came, and this is something that he was asked about in the debate, he chose to, pontificate and say, we need to care about what Kericho gets, what Wajir gets. But these other counties also have their own senators. You're not elected to be the senator of the entire country. You are just elected to be the senator of Nairobi. And Nairobi is very unique. It is unlike any other county. We have counties in this country, Farid, that have only one street of streetlights. So you cannot compare, say, their electricity bill that the county government has to pay just for security, maintaining security, and Nairobi, So you, as a senator, must explain to the Senate and to the country why Nairobi is unique and why we need more money than, say, Kericho. We have a lot of problems with urban population. We need to house our people. We have greater needs for water. We don't use just the same amount of water as say, Nyeri County.
Sure.
So I would be of a different persuasion that, in fact, if there is ever an opportunity to get a greater slice for Nairobi, I would not hesitate to get the resources for Nairobi. Number two, the greatest crisis in Nairobi in the past 5 years was the question of the impeachment of the governor. Do you know, Farid, it was ODM that moved the motion to impeach Sonko? Because we take a position on matters, and that he chose in the Senate not to cast a vote, and he told us about tradition, which is, it was an excuse for me. When the question of the impeachment of a governor who was not performing is before the Senate, that is exactly why you are there. You prosecute the case and you vote. I would not stay away from impeaching or voting to impeach Governor Igathe if he doesn't do the job. You had Martha Karua and Raila Odinga when we were doing the tour yesterday saying, if you don't perform, Martha Karua specifically told Igathe that if we see garbage in Nairobi after we've gotten you the resources for you to clean the city, kiboko ya baba itakuchapa. Meaning, we will be the people to impeach you. Because Nairobians have no room for ambiguity when it comes to delivery of services. So I can assure you, Farid, that there's no question that is going to come before the Senate when I'm the Senate of Nairobi that I will be neutral on.
Right. So it doesn't matter which party you're aligned to.
It doesn't matter.
But what is the role of the Senate? So this maybe this can clear it up for us. The role of the senator versus the role of the governor. Because is there any overlap in these two posts? So
not really of an overlap, but there is a connection. That in fact, you as a senator, you are supposed to make the argument for why your county requires the most resources that you can be able to get for them. So you are the vanguard of your county. You are the protector of devolution. That is what is in the constitution. So you have to look out for the welfare and interest of the county of Nairobi. He told us in that debate that in fact the deed of transfer of functions when Sonko signed over to the Nairobi Metropolitan Services, was actually drawn in his office. Why wasn't he neutral at that particular point? So you can't be the person who, that particular moment was the lowest moment for devolution, that in fact we had the central government coming in to take over roles that are essentially reserved for accounting
government. Which is a shame.
It was a big shame. It was a big shame, and it was made even more shameful by the fact that our governor told us that he didn't even know what he was signing when he was signing it. Yet these documents were prepared in Sakaja's office, according to Sakaja himself. So if you can be able to do that, why would you not cast a vote to remove the guy? So it didn't make sense to me. And we're saying that as a senator of Nairobi, my job is to get the greatest resources I can get. And I'm happy that I'm campaigning with Raila Odinga, who was already committed to move the county allocations from, the current 15% to 35%. We had a fantastic idea with the ward funds that we were going to be able to set aside some resources for the Article 43 rights. The Article 43 rights are the most basic rights. We need rights to healthcare. You need access to water, the things that we were discussing about. And it is one thing for a constitution to say you have a right to something. It is a totally different issue when there is no resource that is committed to that particular right. So Baba was saying we need a fund specifically for those Article 43 rights, that we can be able to guarantee that Nairobians will get water. During the debate, you had the discussion around the water problem in the city. The water problem in Nairobi is not a sourcing problem. It is a distribution problem, Farid. When you see these water bowsers selling water in your neighborhood because you don't have water for a week, it's not as if there is a river from which they go and draw that water. They just go upstream in the distribution network and get the water from there.
Is it cartel run?
Absolutely.
And how do we solve that problem?
That's what I'm saying. You need a bold governor who will be able to talk to these people. If you look at the statistics, they say only 27% of households in Nairobi have access to running water. 27%. You compare it to counties like Nyeri, they're at 67%. And yet at the same time, they tell you that 97% of households in Nairobi have access to electricity. So the question you ask is, what is this magic that Kenya Power has that Nairobi Water does not have? Right. So it is a distribution problem. If you look at the people, running this Bowser business, most of them are even in management at Nairobi Water Services. And we say these things without fear, that it has to change. They are the ones who shut down water to Kilimani so that they can sell you water with their Bowsers.
For $1,500 a tank.
Yeah.
But there's going to be many people, and I'm only saying this to play the devil's advocate. I will never tell anyone where my vote will lie.
Yeah.
Many people are going to say you're talking about a lot of inherent issues. Let's take Nairobi, but really overall the whole country has a lot of inherent issues.
Yeah.
Right? Bad leadership. You can call it whatever you want.
Yeah.
How is 5 years enough to fix these problems? Or are we just starting the ball in motion, hoping for another 5 years? And then, because 10 years, even a decade is not going to be enough to fix the inherent issues we have within Nairobi and the country as well.
Yeah, but you will agree with me that 10 years is a very long time. 10 years lost is not something that you can never get back.
Sure.
Many people regret that we lost the trajectory that we are on with Kibaki and the Grand Coalition government, that in fact, if in those 10 years we had continued in that trajectory, we would be very far off right now, Farid. We need to, at some point, say that this madness must stop. Even for us at ODM, we are asking Baba that sometimes, at the very minimum, we just want a return to common sense in governance. Just common sense. We don't want lofty things. We just want common sense. How is it that Omanyala, who everybody knew the World Championships were going to be at,
arrived 3 hours before
absolutely
his race.
It is and I had it here with the girls at on the jam. They call it weaponized incompetence. I had it here.
But it's true though. That's actually a great term.
It is ridiculous, man.
Yeah.
So we need a return to common sense. It's as if there's people in government who first identify what makes sense, then depart radically from that which makes sense. And we must set the ball rolling. That in fact it is not possible. They say Rome was not built in a day, but there's things that we need to stop doing. If you look at our coalition, we are the only ones who are talking about stopping corruption at the level at which it is right now, because it is not sustainable. Yeah, there used to be a time, and this is something that Raila has spoken to. There used to be a time that 10% used to be sufficient. That in fact, if there was a road project or a dam, there would be a 10% factor for wazes to eat. And at the very minimum, you would see the road there. But we are at an age where, you would first inflate the cost of a road twice so that it is 200%, then eat the entire thing. There's no road and the money has been paid. It is just not sustainable.
Right.
So we need to fight this vice that is called corruption so that we can be able to get services to our people. When we are talking about lack of water in the Bowsers that we're discussing, it is basic corruption. It is basic corruption, Farid. When you get, we have garbage all over the place, roads are not done, or they do a road and they don't factor in the pedestrians, they don't factor in the walkways, they don't factor in the cycling lanes. It is because of corruption. So we are the only coalition that is saying we need to stop. We need to stop, and Baba is going to make sure that we stop and put back the country to the trajectory that it was on when they were in government with Kibaki.
And it's unfortunate that, and again, I also feel that there has been some gains in the last 10 years, but there's been more losses, in my opinion. And I think, you would agree with that as well. If you are elected senator, do you have to resign, or will you remain as the Secretary General for ODM?
No, I get asked that a lot. I don't know why, because there are other officials of the party who are in parliament. Our chairman, John Badi, is a member of parliament for Suba South, I think, and he's also the leader of minority in the House. Our deputy party leaders, Honorable Joho, is a governor of Mombasa. So I believe that I can juggle both roles and any other roles that I will be given in future. I'm hoping to be the majority leader of in the Senate. Mm-hmm. So it's not as if I don't have the capacity to be able to do all these things. But, time will tell. I have enjoyed my time as SG of ODM. It has given me a great opportunity to showcase my, my skills, my talents. I have been able to do a great job at the party, and I'm hoping that in future I can be given other roles.
Okay.
Yeah.
A couple of questions that come in on social media, and I'm just going to ask them.
Sure, shoot.
Many people are saying... someone here is saying, what would you say to someone who says ODM is the same old, same old?
I would invite them to look at the things that have changed about ODM. I don't know what they mean by same old, but we're very optimistic that we have been able to convince our membership that we are doing some things differently. I gave you the example of the offices. You could go to Nyeri County, pick a county, and you will find an ODM office physically present. We have great, grassroots networks. We have chairman in Nyandarua. I'm sure if you go to Nyandarua, ask Mr. Dixon Manyara, is the chairman of ODM in Nyandarua. Not many political parties have the structures that ODM has. And we are at the cusp. As I spoke at our last NDC, I said it was the last National Delegates Convention of ODM as an opposition party. We have had a very long journey, Farid. There's people who have paid the ultimate price for us to be able to reach where we are, we are on the cusp of reaching. So we have a great history as a political party. We have walked a long journey. I have said here and I've spoken about the challenges that we have faced. We are not perfect. We are not perfect. We have done a lot of things wrong. But every day, the leadership of the party wakes up to be able to, return us to the path that, the founders of this party had set us on, and to make sure that we actually deliver the dream. People want to see a changed country. People believe in Raila Odinga. People believe that he is the only person who can be able to sort out some of the issues. And in fact, here in Nairobi, they are telling us when we go around, the people who live in Kibra, the people who live in Mathare, they're saying it would be a shame, Farid, that Raila Odinga completes his first 5 years and there are still slums in Nairobi. Because he was the one in 2012 who had the first idea of urban regeneration and slum upgrading. This
high-rise housing.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I remember this.
And he has promised us that he's going to complete that journey for us, that there's going to be no, these slum dwellings anymore after he completes his term, that in fact there's going to be regeneration of the old estates in places like Bahati, where we were yesterday in Makadara, so that people can actually afford to be homeowners in this country. It has become very expensive to own a home. If you look at the numbers, the people who are taking up mortgages, it is ridiculous. Apartments in Kilimani and Kileleshwa.
I'm trying to buy now. Yeah,
it's crazy, man.
Yeah.
And the interest rates are through the roof. And we need to be able to sort out all these things so that life can become affordable. People are suffering.
And affordability is a problem, right? Yeah. The cost of living is ridiculous right now. How quickly can that be stabilized under a new government?
I think if you look at our manifesto, I had hoped to bring you a copy, but I promised to bring you the copy.
Yeah, please send it to me.
What Baba has done is to not focus on shiny things that are very expensive for us. The reason why the cost of living is high is because our government has gone out to borrow and put that money in projects that are very expensive, that don't give back immediately into the economy, and we have to pay back the debt. So if you look at the Azimio manifesto, there are no shiny things. There are no laptops in there, Farid.
We haven't. Not 9 stadiums.
No, there are no 9 stadiums. In fact, if you look at our promises, they're very modest, because we understand that if we don't control our fiscal spending, we're going to have problems. We have only promised to upgrade the small grounds in the estates, so that people can at least have spaces that
to play.
Yeah. So that is what we are talking about, and we are saying that if we cut down on those mega projects that then cost us a lot of money and then we have to pay back, we can focus on the software of Nairobians, the software of Kenyans, reduce the taxes that are payable on fuel, reduce the taxes on unga, reduce the taxes on other things, and then you can feel an immediate change in the first 100 days.
And it's interesting you say that, because I would imagine having to come out and try and be as minimalistic in your promises versus what normally happens here. And I'm not talking about UDA. I'm talking about every election where they say a laptop per child, 9 stadiums, and before that there were other promises there. You guys were relatively minimalistic in your promises. Was that strategy can also backfire quite badly.
Wow, how?
I mean, people can say that we're not being offered enough by this government.
Yeah, but what we are offering you is to be able to assuage your pain.
I hear you, but right now, but to make that decision as a party is a bold move.
Yeah, because it is not about convenience. Yeah, it is not about what is convenient in that particular moment for you to be able to win votes. We are tired of Kenyans are tired of being told stories and lies. You just this is a lie. Yeah, so what we need to deal with is the immediate pain points
and realistic promises.
Absolutely, we need to be able to feed people. Baba is saying, at the very minimum, can we guarantee that as we think about all the other lofty economic things that we're going to do, can we guarantee that nobody in Kenya is sleeping hungry?
Yeah.
So when he promises this social safety net of 6,000 shillings to the most needy households, it is households that don't have any income, and 6,000 shillings a month, Farid, is 200 shillings a day. That is not enough for your cup of coffee.
Yeah, that's very true.
I know how expensive your coffee is.
No, you're right.
Yeah, so if we are promising, and then you juxtapose that to what we were told by President Uhuru, that in fact in his government, people steal 2 billion shillings a day. 2 billion shillings is the equivalent of the allocation of Lamu County per year.
No, but even if you divide 2 billion by 50 million, everyone will be rich.
So when people talk about, these things are not possible, it is possible by just cutting wastage in government and theft. If you look at the amount of money that was lost in one project, Aurora and Kimaro, they told us it's about 60 billion shillings. That's enough to sustain that program that we're talking about for the people of Nairobi, So we want to be able to deal with the immediate pain points that people are suffering at the pump. People are suffering, rentals are high. If you look at the percentage of rent to your salary, it's not supposed to go higher than 30%. But people are spending as much as 60% of their salaries on rent.
Yeah, which is this is a new problem here.
It is a new problem. It is a new problem.
5 to 7 years old.
Because rent is rising. Yeah. The prices of housing is rising, but yet people's income are stagnant.
Yeah, and that also the cost of living in general. Now, maybe I know we're running out of time, which is a shame, because I'm really enjoying this conversation, and we will have you back, hopefully, if not before the election, immediately afterwards. We have a very big day coming up on the 9th of August. Besides the presidential election, which we know is between two people, let's talk about the gubernatorial election. And this is you can't pick the winner right now. Yeah.
I actually have picked the winner.
No,
I don't know. I don't know about you, but I think that
it's a tight one, though.
Polycarp Igathe is going to win, and this is the reason for it. We go back to the 3 guidelines that we spoke about: personal integrity, competence, and suitability. Even if you're competent and suitable, if you do not have that personal integrity, then you are not suitable for office. And integrity starts with your personal life. You shouldn't tell us obvious lies, Farid. You should be able to look people in the eye and say, yes, I was not able to finish my schooling. I heard him say that he was embarrassed to go back to class. I mean, who has gone through university and not gotten a supplementary in one course or another?
And that's a question I want to ask you, is because he's a guest tomorrow, we can ask this morning.
He will not answer you. He's very sly. He'll just run away from the question. I have seen him in multiple interviews.
But should he have been allowed to run?
He shouldn't have been allowed to run, because it is a question of integrity, Farid. You cannot spend donkey years telling us that you graduated from the University of Nairobi, then at the point of elections you produce some certificates from some backwater institution that nobody has ever heard about. Yeah, we used to go to school Farid, to be able to acquire knowledge. We never went to school so that we can get clearance at IEBC. So this new phenomenon of people going to acquire degrees for purposes of elections is something we must condemn. It's an integrity question. It doesn't matter what you tell us. The truth of the matter is, you did not go to that school.
But IEBC must have a role to play, and they failed.
No. IEBC does not have the capacity to authenticate a degree. That is left to the Commission on University Education,
right. You're right, yeah.
who have already told us that they have disowned that degree. But because at the initial stage, IEBC cleared the guy, and it has rolled through the courts and through the courts, it doesn't make it legitimate. At the end of the day, what I want to remind the people of Nairobi and the people of Kenya generally, Farid, we should not look at these institutions to stop Sifuna, to stop Sakaja, to stop so and so. At the end of the day, the primary responsibility of protecting our constitution is with us as a population, as a voting population. That in fact, we can get all these wash characters, fake university degree holders cleared to run, but at the ballot, when you see their name, you just say, Farid, you live in Kilimani. You know these gold fraudsters. If you see him on the ballot, you just say, this one is a gold fraudster, I'm not going to vote for him. This one did not go to university, he's trying to be clever with his English, I'm not going to vote for him. So let us never abdicate that role as Kenyans, and not look at institutions and say, where's the Commission on University Education, where are our courts, where is IBC, where are the political parties? At the end of the day, it is up to us.
Thank you very much, Edwin Sifuna. Welcome back anytime. It's been a pleasure meeting you and having
I
you
wanted
on the show.
to know something. I told you I've been listening to you guys for a long. Who's this person who does his voice when he says, dogs have owners, cats have... who's that?
It's an American. His name is Randy Marks from the US. He's our voiceover artist, yes.
He's fantastic.
He is.
He's fantastic.
Yes.
Although I don't like what he has done with our political promises.
For the John Sibiu.
Absolutely, I don't like it. I would like to meet him and tell him that actually politicians are not the same. There's people who make empty promises, and there's people who have a history of keeping promises.
That's awesome. Edwin, thank you so much for coming in. And like I said, you're welcome back anytime. What a great conversation we had this morning.